Call this Village of Greenhills Council meeting to order for April 22nd, 2025. The clerk call the roll.
Ms. Hermes?
Here.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Ms. Hudson?
Here.
Mr. Warner?
Here.
Ms. Walker?
Here.
Mr. Holter?
Here.
Mayor Moore?
Here. Okay, we have a prayer by Maria Walter.
Dear Lord, we thank you for the men and women in our armed forces who work to protect our country. We thank you for all the first responders that we have in our communities and vicinities that we exchange services together. Please keep them safe as they carry out their duties. Bring away from home is hard for them, and we ask you that you give them strength and courage. Bring them back to us safe and sound and to their families. We pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the minutes of the previous council meeting of March 25th, 2025, and the council work session meeting of April the 8th, 2025. If there are no changes, minutes stand approved.
No changes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, all right. At this time, I have a proclamation to read, and I'll read it up here, since I have a microphone here. The people at Waycross can hear me, and then we'll have the Warriors come up and introduce themselves, get on camera. I'll give you the proclamation, and we have some treats, basketball treats for the team. Okay, whereas the Winton Woods Girls Basketball team was the only girls team in the state to go undefeated on the season with a record of 27-0. And whereas being league champions in the Eastern Cincinnati Conference and the conference champs for the third time in 4 years, and whereas being district champs for the second time in 4 years, and whereas becoming regional champs for the first time in the school's history of girls basketball, and whereas having defeated Anthony Wayne High School 70-55 to win the school's first state championship, and whereas the team finished the season ranked the #1 team in the state of Ohio, regardless of divisions by Max Preps. Now, therefore, I, David Moore, Mayor of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, on behalf of all members of council, do hereby honor and congratulate the Winton Woods Girls Basketball team for the hard work and dedication it took to become the Division II state champions for the first time in Winton Woods program history. The Village of Greenhills wishes to recognize them for their outstanding achievement and hereby declares Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025, as Lady Warriors State Basketball Champs Day. In witness hereof, I hereto subscribe my name to this, the 22nd day of April in the year 2025. Some of the members will come up, and I'll turn that microphone around and say, introduce yourselves.
I'm Ryan Davis, and I'm a senior. I'm Nyla Harmon, I'm a senior.
I'm Whitley Davis, I'm a junior. I'm Michaela Reese, I'm a junior.
I'm Sophia Kruger, I'm a freshman. I'm Sydney Davis, I'm a junior.
My name is Bernice Lawson, I'm a freshman.
Wow.
I'm Styla Estelle, I'm assistant coach.
I am Stephen Sanders. I'm an assistant coach.
And lastly, I'm Carlton Gray, head coach. Take a couple minutes. Just thank you all. These girls have been to a bunch of places recently, and it's been fun to see truly how many people were behind them in their successful run. I graduated from Forest Park High School, so this Greenhills, Winton Woods thing is kind of new to me. But I see now that we really are kind of family again, so I kind of accept the green more than I did when I was in high school. So we appreciate it. It's a great group of girls that you all have been supporting, and I hope that you all are proud of how they represented us. Thank you.
Thank you.
I remember those days when you were real competitive. I had a son that was in Greenhills about the same time you were in Forest Park, was in sports. Thanks again for coming, and you guys make me feel a little short. But I watched that last game on my computer and was able to bring it up. It was quite exciting. So I'll look forward to next year doing even more.
Take a few cake pops.
Turn around, family. Thank you, guys. Oh, take your pictures.
Aw.
Take your cake pops.
Take them all. Take them all. Take them all.
Make sure to get one for the little guy.
Yeah, just take the box.
Please.
Just don't eat them all tonight.
They're all coming back.
I was possibly three, so. You're the first one. Second. Yeah.
Congratulations. Good job.
They got me too. Hey, I had to be on time. It was important. Hey.
I think so, because he's right next to the person.
Thank you. That's great.
So bad we gave the coach a ticket today.
Who's we? Who's this we you speak of?
One of my officers.
I'm just kidding.
Not that coach, the lady coach.
Oh, okay, moving on.
That is.
Quite an accomplishment for those girls. All right. We have public presentations. Chief Tony Spaeth, Greenhills Fire Department.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening to everybody. I have just a few comments this evening. Statistics for March, we had 31 EMS calls and 19 fire calls for a total of 50. Thus far in April, we've had 22 EMS calls and 21 fire calls for a total of 43, and the month is not over yet. Year to date, we're about 22 calls ahead of where we were at the same time last year. Just a couple of notes this evening. I reported last month, but last night we finished our EMT refresher class, and so all of the EMTs that run on the ambulance, we have to have 40 hours of continuing ed over a 3-year period, and so we have this refresher class, and we do it all at once, and so we just completed that. You've been up here on Monday nights. You may have seen some Glendale fire units out here. We invited them to join us, and so we collaborated with another community, and we had a really good program. So congratulations to all of our members who took the time to take that class. We started in January and we finished last night. Also want to thank everybody who attended the Easter egg hunt. And I've been chief since 1997, and something has only happened twice, and that's a false start. About 15 years or so ago, we had one, and yesterday, or Sunday, Easter Sunday, I got the bullhorn out and I said, "Happy Easter," and they just went. So it's awesome because I feel like we had a lot of newer folks there that never participated and didn't know what the program is. But let me tell you, when they start, you don't stop them because in the end, the result is the same. So it's always fun, and once again, we were blessed with great weather. I just wanted to take a minute. I try to cover a topic every month, and this month I want to kind of review open burning. And so, the Village of Greenhills, by ordinance, we follow the Ohio Fire Code. And so, what I'm going to tell you tonight is in the Ohio Fire Code. And so, we have two kinds of burning: open burning and a recreational fire. And so, those are two different things. And so, in the state of Ohio and the Village of Greenhills, open burning is unlawful. And open burning is when you burn something in your backyard on the ground, or you dig a pit and you burn leaves or brush or anything other than seasoned firewood. And so that is prohibited by law. Oftentimes that produces an unpleasant odor, unpleasant smoke, and generally what happens is someone will call 911 and then we have to respond out and talk about the issue. What we do permit is recreational fires, and so most everyone probably has one. If not, you're familiar with these appliances that you can buy at the big box stores, and you can put 3 or 4 logs in there and have a recreational fire in your driveway or on your patio or what have you. And so those are permitted. There's literally tens of thousands of those across the state of Ohio, so there's no way in the world we could regulate them. But it's a portable fireplace fixture. You can use seasoned firewood for that, which you can buy again at a big box store, the grocery store. And as long as it produces little to no smoke, we permit that. We just remind everybody to make sure that it's a safe distance from your house. I remember a number of years ago, it was raining on Halloween, and someone on a city street, which I won't name, had their fire pit going in their garage. And so we had to immediately put a stop to that. But anyway, safe distance from a structure, from your house, so on and so forth, has to be attended, and there has to be an extinguishment agent of some kind nearby, like a garden hose would be the best thing. We don't go out and hunt for these. We respond to complaints. And generally, when there's a complaint, someone will call 911, and then we have to respond out and have an awkward conversation with the resident, letting them know that they have to put the fire out. And so the vast majority of the time, better than 99% of the time, people are good enough, they comply. Once in a while, we have to go back, or we will enlist the assistance from the police department when someone maybe has a disagreement with us about the fire that they may have in their yard. So open burning, no. Recreational fires, yes. If you have any questions, give us a call. We'll come out and tell you what you can do and what you can't do. But we just want to work together to make sure everyone stays safe. And now that the weather's changing and people want to be outside, certainly an acceptable behavior as long as we're all doing it in the right way. That is the conclusion of my report. If you have any questions or comments for me.
Chief?
Thank you.
The 1 minute that you said that those eggs last, you only can count 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, and they're gone.
It's we put out 2,000 eggs is what we put out.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, in a couple minutes, it's over.
It's over.
So once it starts,
gone.
it's gone.
Yeah.
So it's all in good fun. It's a great time.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Tony, I just wanted to ask how things are progressing with working back and forth and getting set up for the new next phase.
We're getting close. We're getting close. We're currently working with the administration with the contract and our attorney and the village attorney, and we're really, really hoping to get something here buttoned up before the next work session so that we can go to the next phase. But a lot of good work's been done. We're very excited about what's getting ready to happen, and we're very hopeful for the future of fire and EMS service in the village.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next, Jennifer Weichert from the Public Library, Greenhills Branch.
Hello, how are you all doing tonight?
Good, you?
Thanks again for letting me come. I did want to say, number one, thank you to everyone who reached out to their Ohio House of Representative members to let them know about library funding, because thanks to your advocacy, the Ohio House removed a provision in the state budget that would have resulted in a $14.5 million cut to Hamilton County libraries starting in July. Your voices were heard, but the budget process is far from over, as I'm sure you all are well aware of. But 50% of our funding comes from the state, and they approved, the Ohio House approved their version of the state operating budget on April 9th, and the provision to change the way state funds are distributed to Ohio's libraries was removed. Rather than funding public libraries as a percentage of the general fund, the public library fund, which is how we've done it for a very long time, it's actually been changed in the House's proposal to be a dollar amount, a set amount allocated through a line item appropriation, and removing the PLF from permanent law may result in less stable funding for us, because that's a lot easier to make alterations to, and that would just be catastrophic for libraries across the state. We're all funded from the public library fund, so we all count on it to varying degrees, but it's always a very large part. So while it is a slight increase in their version over what they had first proposed, it is still far lower than what the governor had proposed, which is a 1.75% of the general revenue fund, which would be the PLF. And so the money is funding us at about the same levels that we were 25 years ago. So just to put in perspective of, how things have changed in the last 25 years. The budget is now with the Ohio Senate, so they'll be starting on that starting next week. So we appreciate all of the support that happened. We're kind of putting a pause on reaching out to folk as we monitor the situation. But if there are questions, I'm always happy to discuss them. Also, if you follow us on social media or you go to our webpage, you can stay up to date on how everything is doing with that. But I know Greenhills always has supported the library greatly, and we appreciate all of the quick support. Also, summer reading will be kicking off before we know it. It will be very close the next time I get to speak with you all, so I just wanted to let everyone know that summer reading is for kids 0 to 18 who starts on May 31st, runs through July 31st. It's going to be Reading on the River is our theme this year. So we're going to have a lot of fun. We'll have an activity tracker for 25 days. We'll have prizes. You'll get a free book when you sign up. All kinds of fun and games. We'll have lots of programs and stuff. We will be having a kickoff celebration at Greenhills from 1 to 3 on that Saturday of May 31st. So if you like bubbles or you like baking cookies, we can help you out while supplies last on that one. But we're going to have a whole slate of things throughout the entire summer, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We also do have that laminator, stapler, and shredder at the branch. So moderate amounts of shredding. Please don't bring the entire basement with you, but if you need a few things shredded, we would be happy to assist with that, especially if you've been printing off something and you would like us to we have the ability to take care of that in-house rather than sending it downtown to be shredded at the main library now. We also have the laminator, 8.5 by 11. So if you need something, we can do that for you. It's 50 cents a pouch for that, and then the stapler is free. It is an electric one, but it's a smaller electric one, so it can't do your novel, but it can certainly do a larger packet. Also, we will be starting a new program, Free Play, on Saturdays in May. That'll be at 11 a.m., and that's aimed at children's aged 2 to 5, where we'll have different activities and toys out so that they can do self-guided play with that, and also caregivers will have a chance to connect with each other and maybe build some relationships and have a chance to meet up and have some fun. So we're going to be testing out the waters in May and see how it goes, and then we'll take it from there about if it will continue. And of course, we do have our usual slate of all kinds of fun things. Spice Club is on Tuesday, May 6th. We're doing a teen button collage on Thursday, May 8th at 4:30. It's a great Mother's Day present for anybody who needs one of those. Our classic movie club is going to be on Saturday, May 17th. Just all kinds for all different ages. So if you are curious, you can go on our webpage, www.chpl.org, and find out all of the different ones or give us a buzz. So that's pretty much what I have.
All right.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you as always. And I have a question on the laminator. How much is the price or the expense involved in making a sign or anything like that? In the special laminator?
It can only handle 8.5 by 11, and it's 50 cents per laminator sheet. So, depending on how much you can fit into the laminator thing, if you have like a lot of little things, but it's 50 cents per laminator.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. Moving on. We have reports of municipal officials. We have no public hearings tonight. Reports of municipal officials, the municipal manager, Yvonne Kovac.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start by taking a quick look at some of the legislation we have on our your agenda tonight. We have our first ordinance of the year, and that is to repeal sections 1321 and 1329. Those two sections actually should have gone away back when, in 2012, I believe it was, when we adopted the International Property Maintenance Code. And for whatever reason, that didn't occur. Off and on, I know Mr. Forbes and I have had some discussions on, we need to get rid of that. So we're finally doing it. That's what that amounts to, and it is on for its first reading only tonight. The second item, our second ordinance, also is on for first reading only. And this is full of like clarifications and consolidations of some things, of things we already have in our codes regarding massage establishments. It's not preventing massage businesses from moving into the shopping center, but it does ensure that any establishment goes there, is operated, and the employees in there are properly licensed in the state of Ohio to do what they're doing. And a few examples of our current code. I found at least 4 different chapters that reference things about sexually oriented businesses, adult entertainment, all those kinds of things. So this will help to clarify the massage issue by having its own chapter. It's proposing to establish Chapter 7485. That too is on for first reading. A couple other things I want to note. I'm sure you've probably noticed that the Farragut Ingram Road project has gotten started finally. They're doing catch basins, curb work right now, and I think later in May, we don't have a date yet, they'll start the milling and then get that street resurfaced. It is really needing it. It's like getting worse by the day, so it's good to see that. Our garbage bids have also gone out. We are part of the Southwest Ohio Regional Refuse Consortium. We were part of the first one, and we are actually going out to bid with the other communities are Fairfax, Mount Healthy, Loveland, Riverside, and Springdale, and us. So the bids are out and they'll be due on May 19th. And the Center for Local Government reviews them, summarizes them, and then we'll be reviewing the results for our next 5 years. Then the good news, hopefully you've seen it, the pool has been filled. It always looks so pretty. Just find that so cheerful. So it opens on May 24th, and there's still plenty of time to get your memberships. That's what I have for now.
And the water may warm up by then.
It might, yeah, that's nice.
Hey, Yvonne, have you mailed out the information about memberships just yet this year?
No, those will probably go out like the first week in May.
Okay.
All right, Law Director Jeff Forbes.
Thank you, Mayor. Just sort of the usual update on some legislation that's pending up at the state and impact it might have at the local level. Some of these we've talked about before, but just as far as status updates, I think I've already mentioned House Bill 28, which would essentially stop local governments from doing replacement levies. It would take away so that you would be left with either renewals or new levies. That passed in the House, and it's now been sent to, just last week, I think it passed in the House. It's been sent over to the Senate, so we'll continue to watch and see. One of my other municipal clients in a different county, one of the sponsors of that bill actually is their state rep, and I believe he's coming to talk about it at their next council meeting, so I may have some more direct information to report next time just on the status of that. There are at least 3 bills pending right now: Senate Bill 86, House Bill 160, House Bill 198. They all do a whole bunch of different things, but the one thing they do in common is to proposing to regulate or provide a framework for what they're all calling intoxicating hemp products. It's the things that you will see that are sold in gas stations, vape shops, other things that basically fall into a loophole under the existing law that's related to adult use cannabis, which is highly regulated, only can be done through licensed dispensaries. It's essentially a loophole that's been exploited by some companies. I don't know which one of these, because they keep moving those provisions around, but I'm almost sure one of these bills will end up passing. I wouldn't be surprised if Senate Bill 86 is going to pass because that's one of the budget bills that they've inserted this into, so it may stay there, but it's going to provide a lot more, it's going to prohibit those products from being sold. So it's going to give a local law enforcement another tool to help deal with that. Just last week, House Bill 241 was introduced, and it's timely because it's a topic that's come up here recently, related to dogs running at large, vicious dogs, dangerous dogs. This House Bill 241 provides a much more, strict component related to the quarantine rules for dogs after they've been involved in an incident or bite or any other kind of incident. So, like I said, that was just introduced literally 5 days ago. So we'll continue to watch that, see what changes are made at the state level, and if any of those also necessitate any kind of changes to your ordinance at the local level. Those are kind of all the legislative actions. I will say right before the meeting, I was asked a question, not about any other bills, but about State Issue 2, which is actually on the ballot for the May election. And it does have some, obviously it has some local impact. It's called the Local Public Infrastructure Bond Amendment. It's a constitutional amendment that would authorize the state to issue general obligation bonds, the purpose of which is to fund the state capital improvement program, grant program. I just looked right before the meeting started, and it looks like that first happened in 1987, and since 1987 there have been 4. I think this will be either the 4th or the 5th constitutional amendment to authorize additional bonds to be issued to fund that what we call SCIP, state capital improvement program. I can't speak to it. Yvonne might be able to, but I suspect that Greenhills has been,
Right.
we have benefited from that.
Absolutely.
It's
A lot
the
of road
state,
projects.
exactly. It's primarily for road, bridge projects, other water infrastructure projects, but it's basically to continue to fund that state grant program.
The,
$250 million per year, so it's a $2.5 billion. It is proposed to authorize $2.5 billion in general obligation bonds that can be paid out, $250 million a year over 10 years. And that actually is, if you look back, in 1987, voters approved $1.2 billion for that. 1995 was another 1.2 billion. 2005 was 1.35 billion. 2014 was 1.875 billion. So that's the history of how the program has worked.
And the village benefited probably, I'd have to go back and try to find old things, but a couple $1 million out of that. We did a number of road projects, the storm sewer reconstruction that went down through the J section was funded by that program. They have a loan program also, so Winton Road was funded in the latest round with a loan, low interest, and what was it, 20 years or 30? 30 years payback. So yeah, it's a great program. It's really benefited the state of Ohio's infrastructure for sure, and it hasn't cost taxpayers anything. So be sure to support that when you go to the polls, in my opinion.
Okay. Unless there are questions, that would conclude my report.
Okay. All right. Moving on, Clerk of Council, Teresa Lawley.
Nothing tonight.
Okay. Chief of Police, Jim Howarth.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everybody that came out with Coffee with the Cops earlier this month. We had a great time, a lot of good questions. We met at French Toast Heaven, and I appreciate their hospitality. They did a wonderful job hosting us, and the food was great too. And I know a lot of people ordered off the menu, which was nice for them. But it was all great, and we appreciate it. I don't think I mentioned the last meeting, but I did in the work session, but not the prior meeting. That back in October applied for a grant for body-worn cameras for the department. Found out in March that we received that grant in the amount of $27,504.97. So those will be rolling out, just finalizing the grant. Got to accept the letter and do some things, the initial budget and all those kind of things that come with a grant. And then we'll be contracting with Axon for our body cams. So I'm not going to tell you tomorrow or next month that you're going to see them on the street, but sometime this year, you'll see all the officers outfitted with a body cam. Also, I mentioned in the prior meeting in March, reference CALEA, I did receive the letter after the meeting from the executive director that the department was reaccredited for the 6th time. That'll be in effect for the next 4 years with ongoing yearly proof compliance and so forth. So we're excited about that. I want to thank Lieutenant Ann Ward for her hard work being the accreditation manager and making sure we're staying up on all the compliance issues. We had our building bridges this past month. It was a great turnout again. Really excited about that program. And our next one's coming up this Sunday from 2 to 4, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. This Sunday, the 27th. This month, it's going to be at Quinn Chapel Church at 10998 Southland Road. In the past 3 months that we've hosted it, has been Greenhills officers, Forest Park, and Cincinnati. This coming meeting, Springfield Township, Springdale Police Department, and the Hamilton County Park Rangers have decided to join the program. So they will have officers in attendance on the 27th. So love for anybody that'd like to come out for that program. It's been a great event. Also, back in earlier this year, I applied for a grant that I saw come across that was from Mark and Maria Pisa. It's a community engagement grant, and it's out of Delaware County, and it was for 2 $1,000 donations or grants for community engagement. With that, I saw it, completed the application, put our goals, our objectives, what we expect to get out of the program, and sent that up there, and was actually accepted, one of the 2 in the state that got that $1,000, received the check last week. So wow. That will strictly go into the community fund dedicated just towards building bridges. We supply pizza every meeting, gift cards for raffle drawings and so forth. So all that will come out of that funding. So we're excited about that. Don't forget about the police levy coming up and exercising your right to vote on May 6th. If you have any questions about the upcoming levy, I will be up here in this room Monday, from this coming Monday, from 6 p.m. to 7:30 to answer any questions anybody might have. There's no set program, so if you can't get here till 7, even if you can't get here till 7:30, I'll be here. I'll stay as long as it takes just to talk, answer questions. I'd just like you to be informed and have the answers to your questions. So look forward to that. Upcoming events, we're starting the manager park talks. The first one starts May 1st, so those will be every month. The first one's May 1st. I'll also be there, can answer any questions if you don't get here on Monday or if you have questions. But those start at 6 p.m. till 7:30 at the shelter by Malloy's. That's May 1st, and I think we offer pizza there too and drinks if anybody wants to come hungry. Just mark your calendar for game time with Greenhills PD. That's scheduled for Saturday, June 14th. That'll be here before we know it, noon to 3 p.m. behind Malloy's. We'll also have pizza for the kids up to ages 15. We'll play games, basketball, cornhole, all different types of events. So hopefully the kids will come out. Also, I encourage people to go to our website and visit our website. There's questions and answer section about the police department on the website, crime stats, trends. Just posting probably this evening before I leave or tomorrow morning, be our April newsletter be going out. It's got a lot of good information in it, so encourage people to go to the website and view that. And a lot of the flyers are on there. You can click a link, it'll take you to the game time flyer, it'll take you to Cooking with the Cops in August and all those different events coming up. As far as March statistics, we had 16 criminal offense reports that officers took during the month of March. Ironically, we took the exact same amount in March of 2024, 16 reports. Out of those 16 reports, 5 arrests were made. We responded to 179 calls for service, including 22 squad runs, 11 suspicious persons, 5 domestic trouble runs, one of which resulted in a domestic violence arrest. We issued 68 traffic citations. We issued 103 traffic warnings. Took 7 investigative crash reports. And through March of this year, we've taken 46 criminal offense reports. Same time in 2024 through March, we took 51 criminal offense reports. So we're down 5 reports from this time last year. So unless you have questions, that's all I have.
I had feedback that I was meeting with someone that's
Yes,
a
sir.
resident, and they just said that they really appreciated the informational flyer that they received and thought that it was informative and well done.
Through the PAC?
Mhm.
Okay, great, thank you. And I appreciate Jack Lee for heading that PAC up.
And keep up the good work.
Thank you, appreciate you.
Okay. Mayor's report, I have the court receipts for March. Checks will be issued to the state of Ohio for $1,379, to Hamilton County $54, and the village of Greenhills $5,197. And that's all I have. The other item I was going to talk about was the state bond issue. Since we covered that, nothing else. Okay, we have reports of committees, Recreation, Cable Television, Rachel Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only updates that I have are all related to Waycross. And recently they recorded an episode with Chief Howard, so stay tuned because that'll be aired soon. And then they are still in need of volunteers. If you are breathing, you can volunteer. You're eligible. And that would be for sporting events, concerts, any other events that they have. And they're a nice, fun group out there. So I recommend you reach out. Summer camp registrations will open soon. And they've also been nominated again for a couple of blue chip awards. So they're gonna find out soon if they actually won or not. So exciting stuff. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, Service and Streets, Melanie Armies.
I have no report at this time.
Okay. Community Development, Jack Bonner.
Thank you, Mayor. So we recently met earlier today, and it's 2 topics. One is about the America 250 celebration being recognized next year for the country's, the U.S. 250th anniversary. And there was a grant program soliciting ideas across the state for recognizing how communities kind of weave their history into the history of the U.S. Unfortunately, we didn't receive a grant award, but we would still like to proceed with an idea to kind of have a permanent way of kind of recognizing Greenhills, how Greenhills fits into U.S. history. So we've kind of decided to put out on the village website, a short survey, just you have a couple thoughts. One would be the idea of the original grant, which would be a veterans memorial. And we'll have a couple other ideas that will float, and just want to see, kind of gauge what interest folks have and what they'd like to see, since we have to, look at carrying a little bit more of the burden ourselves and making that happen. The other topic is beautification awards will be coming up for the summer season. So there'll be an announcement in about mid-May or so, and shortly after we'll have the committee going around the village and enjoying all the beautiful flowers and the artwork that residents have done, and look forward to recognizing folks for that. And that's it.
Jim, I forgot to mention this, but if you need some information about the concept of Greenhills and the history, maybe reach out to the Butler County Historical Society, because Willard, which was one of the ones contracted by the government, by Roosevelt, to conceive the village. And my father-in-law, his son, was the one that was employed to make the partitions of the area. So they have a lot of information about that, about Greenhills there. Last name is Willard.
Thank you.
All right. Finance and Audit, Jack Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Finance Committee met on April 2nd with the Finance Director, Deb Heimer, as well as the Municipal Manager, to review the 2024 year-end results. We took some extra time because Rachel was new to the committee to kind of get into the weeds a little bit as far as those numbers. I think at some point Deb will be here to go through those numbers either here or in a retreat. Well, she also gave us an update that the state audit will be occurring soon. We don't necessarily know when they're going to show up, but they're just
Connie said we'll be there tomorrow.
yeah. So they'll show up. But the fiscal year end of year balance for 2024, the fund balance of all funds was $4,151,061. Of that, the general fund was $2 million. Pardon me, get in the right column here. $2,651,144 was included in that first number. So, unless you have any questions, that's the end of my report.
All right. Safety, Jeff Holder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In lieu of meeting, we've been distributing flyers, and I want to thank Jack for heading that up to support the police levy. All those that have volunteered, and I think the officers have distributed them.
Absolutely.
It's been all hands on deck, and for a very, very good cause, and want to thank everybody that's been involved with that, and look forward to hopefully good news when that comes around and is voted on. That concludes my report for today.
And I'd like to mention on their own time,
Okay.
not when they were working.
Very important.
Yes. Right. Thank you for that clarification.
Hey, Intergovernmental Affairs, Laws and Rules, Maria Walther.
We had a meeting today at 6 o'clock. We discussed the new House bill that would give a little bit more teeth to the dog warden, and no pun intended of that. We also discussed a couple of other items, and Mr. Forbes clarified a couple of things that he can take it and clarify himself, but essentially what it was, that the ordinances have 2 readings. Can be reading by title only. They can have an emergency clause. Emergency only means that it becomes active upon that second reading, and if it doesn't have that, it's waiting 30 days to become effective. So that's what the nomenclature, I guess you would call it, the definition of that it is. We set a next meeting, and it's going to be on May the 27th, and it's going to be again at 6, so it will be prior to our regular meeting here. I brought up those new ordinances here, and that's why it was important for me to give you that definition. And if Mr. Forbes wants to add something else, we have Waycross stating that, and we can refer anybody to the Waycross footage of it or whatever it is. I also mentioned about the amounts of the dog situation and the concerns and the pictures that the Inquirer had in that of the horrific dogs that have attacked people. So we are hoping to see what happens with this new legislation coming up. And that concludes my report, and the notes that I made on that, I have it in here. I will pass it to Ms. Teresa Lale if she wants to put the minutes on that of the report.
Okay. All right, this is an opportunity for residents and non-residents to make comments solely regarding legislation that's on the current agenda. Non-residents must obtain prior permission. This is the time for citizens to comment on legislation listed on the agenda for this session of council. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, complete the sign-in sheet, verbally indicate if you're a resident of Greenhills or non-resident, then state your comments. Comments will be limited to 4 minutes. We have no unfinished business, and we have no new business.
There's nothing to sign, but my name's Patricia Bender, and I was up here to talk about this issue 2, which we're very fortunate we were able.
That's not, no.
That's not on our agenda.
The second time you'll have an opportunity. This is the opportunity just to talk about legislation that's on the agenda.
Oh.
It's okay.
I don't know where that sheet went. We had a sheet up there.
There was a sheet there for the signing in.
I signed in earlier. So, Doug Kohler, I am a resident of Greenhills, 53 Ilona Drive. I'm also a subcontractor at the shopping center, and as such, I really appreciate that I get the packets ahead of time. I got it on Friday afternoon. As such, I keep a close eye on anything that can affect the tenants or a future tenant. So my concern when I read the packet, and I believe Ms. Walters may have already addressed my primary concern, the second thing on here, the ordinance relating to massage establishments and declaring it an emergency. So my first concern was, this is the first we've heard about it, on a holiday weekend, Good Friday, as an emergency ordinance. I was understanding that it would be voted on tonight and approved, okay? Ms. Walters has just clarified that that's not what's going to happen. I believe in the past it may have been that way, so things may have changed. With it being such a short notice, I'm not a lawyer. It's a 10-page legal jargon fine print. I did read through it quickly. I don't understand half of it. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer. But I did come across 2 things that I had concern over it, and it really hit me that we were going to try to pass this in 3 days on a holiday weekend. So that was my biggest concern, okay? But again, I think you said we're going to wait 30 days. That's what I was going to ask for up here.
There's 2 readings, and then the emergency means that it will be, as the second reading, it would be immediately effective. Or if we take that away, we don't have an emergency, it would be in effect in 30 days after that.
That is totally fine with me. I just thought with 10 pages of legal stuff, there's no way I could try to understand it or even ask enough questions in time. I was going to send an email to everybody over the weekend, but then I got to thinking, I've heard there's issues sometimes with email, so I didn't know what to really do. So coming tonight's why I'm here. Okay, good, I'm going close on time. I got 2 quick questions, though, about it. And this is because current tenants and future possible tenants. Was there something that sparked this coming up all of a sudden and being an emergency? Okay, I realize it's not. Okay, but it came across that way. So my thought was, what's causing this that it had to be enacted instantly? Okay, that was one of my questions. And again, I read this very quickly. I don't know what it said or what it even meant. there was one thing in there that said that the chief of police has to review to renew leases. What criteria is that based on? Just legal? I don't know what that even means, again. That's what I'm saying. So my questions are, okay, was there something that sparked this? It's all of a sudden we got to do this as an I know it's not, but as an emergency. It's like, but that's how it came across. So it came out again on a Friday afternoon. Oh, let's count down. Okay, I thought I was running out of time. Came out Friday afternoon on a holiday weekend. And I'm not necessarily panicking, but I've got a chiropractor up there that may be doing massage or something, or we might get a wellness center. You don't know what we're going to get. And I always think about that as working up there. You know, anything that can help the community. There's, you know, I think about Mitchell's Salon over in Tri-County. Well, they offer massages and stone this and that. So, and again, I didn't read it through. I just saw emergency massage parlor. You know, what are we? No wellness centers, no nothing. So again, my two questions are, was there something that sparked this all of a sudden? And what are the criteria that the chief of police has to go through to renew leases? So thank you for your time, and thank you for sending me these each month.
If I could just make note on what we try to do, especially if it's an ordinance, we'll write it next to it, first reading.
I did see
And
that,
yeah.
but I remember in the past I haven't been here in years, everybody knows that. When it was an emergency, boom, it was passed that same night, and that may have changed. I assume it probably has at this point.
That changed a long time ago.
That's how long it's been since I've been here. So, again, I see emergency, I was panicking.
That should help you.
Okay,
a bit, just
thanks.
see if it says first
Okay.
reading.
Thank you. Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Thanks, Doug.
I thought this was about legislation. I didn't realize it was about any issues we had. So I, again, am coming up, and...
It is about legislation.
That was...
That was about this document that we're
Yes,
about
that's what
to-
I'm talking about, this document.
Okay, thank you.
But I thought legislation had to do with politics.
No,
Right.
village legislation.
So, okay, so I am coming up here to address this ordinance that was put out for, and it does state, declaring emergency. And I read under section 2, the ordinance is declared an emergency necessary for immediate preservation of peace, health, safety, and general welfare of the people of the village of Greenhills. And I don't understand why you would put something like this together when it's a state law in the state of Ohio that a massage therapist has to be licensed. And all the categories and criteria that you list in this sheet are already required by the state of Ohio. So what's the real underlying current on why you would want this type of an ordinance to be instilled in our village, and then to have the chief of police have to come in and inspect it? And then you even note in here that you have to be the owner and you have to work there and be the massage therapist. I don't really get why, and what is the underlying reason that you're putting this ordinance out, is my concern. You deterred cannabis when it was in the legislation, of the opportunity to bring the revenue into Greenhills, which we all need, so we wouldn't have to pay more taxes for the police, we wouldn't have to pay more taxes for the fire department. We could develop enough revenue that would cover these concerns, building out this area that you all sit in, giving raises to all the employees, and everyone living happily ever after. We don't have to have an ordinance like this to have peace and harmony in Greenhills. And I just really want to know the underlying reason why you would put such an ordinance out. You prevented cannabis from coming in. I mean, I don't smoke dope or buy it from the stores that I would be concerned, but it's a revenue generator. It's almost like the economics of Greenhills are the lowest priority. And if we were to allow more businesses into the shopping center, we wouldn't have concerns on having enough tax dollars to pay for raises. And there are many businesses that you deny and you deny and deny, and you don't even tell them why you're denying it. When I came in here, you challenged me on my sign because you thought it was boring. And I'm really concerned because you all represent us. So to me, why you would not want to put in a hemp store that wants to make clothes is denied. Hemp. it really concerned me that we have to put such silliness together.
May I respond to that?
Yeah, sure.
Well, you're not supposed to, you're supposed to
Yeah,
think
we're not
about it,
supposed to.
so we can think more clearly.
Excuse me, do you have a sign-in sheet?
Okay, respond.
As far as the cannabis issue that you raised up, which had nothing to do with the legislation, I might add, but
For reference.
well, for reference, the village does not make, or any village does not make multiple thousands of dollars from the
Sales. We don't need thousands of dollars, but 1,000 would have been great. Forest Park took advantage of it.
Well, Forest Park has a grow site, which is.
Has a what? No, that is not a grow site. I wouldn't
Okay.
say that. They
Wait.
stuck it out. It's not
All
a
right.
grow site.
It's not Forest Park.
It's really sad you
Yeah.
can't even discuss issues.
Mayor, can I just clarify
Right.
something with respect to the ordinance that just
Right.
had, that is on for first reading?
Right.
It does not prohibit massage establishments. What it says is that in order to have a massage establishment, the owner or manager and the employees have to be licensed through the state of Ohio.
And why is that?
Well,
It could be a medical doctor that owns the facility.
then keep reading, because, I mean, there are exceptions to it. Hospitals are accepted, medical facilities are accepted, other people licensed through the State of Ohio Medical Board are accepted, or there are exceptions, cosmetologists, barbers, I mean, there are a number.
Then why put this out?
I will tell you, and by the way, this is something we've been working on for a long time. Because if you look across the state of Ohio, you will find any number of communities that have problems with illicit massage establishments.
So you live in fear.
No,
There's criminals out there.
we're taking a step to prohibit human trafficking in the village of Greenhills and to make sure that any massage establishment is operated by a licensed massage therapist. But it does not prohibit massage establishments.
I'm not saying it does, but everything you have written there is
But you
state
did
law.
say that.
It does say state law. That's a state law.
Okay.
That's not a state law.
You do, you have to have a state license to do massage.
You can open up a massage establishment anywhere you want that doesn't require you to be a licensed massage
Well,
therapist.
that's correct, but that's not what I'm talking about.
But that's not what you just said.
No, it
It is
isn't.
what I said.
We
Okay.
want to
Okay,
require
okay.
that you have a
Why should
license.
the owner have to be a licensed massage therapist
Or manager.
or manager? Why?
Okay,
Okay, nothing.
that's it. Next.
Good evening. My name is Patty Andwan, and I live at 32 Chalmers Lane. And I want to say that I wholeheartedly agree with Mr. Kohler's comments. The track record of this council has been abysmal in terms of emergency measures that just get pulled out of the air, and just an overload of executive council meetings or executive session meetings, and I think it's appalling. I agree also that Ms. Bender has raised some very good questions. Now, my comment on legislation has to do with the first item that you have, ordinance number 202501L&R, regarding roof drainage. It sounds like you're replacing something that really hasn't been active since you had this housing rule. But I'd like to bring to your attention the fact that I went to your zoning board of appeals when Mr. Eichert next door was putting in a patio and was allowing the storm drainage from his upper gutter to drain directly into the crawl space. I asked for the zoning board of appeals to make a adjustment to his plans to accommodate the problem that this was causing with flooding in my basement. Now, I was out of town for 2 weeks, and I want you to know my sub pump, which I pay the electric for, has been running overtime. I've had to replace it in the last couple years. And I asked for the Village of Greenhills to go back to the Zoning Board of Appeals that I requested them to deal with this downspout and get it corrected. That downspout should not be dumping directly into my crawl space. I don't know what your housing code says. I don't understand why the people on the Zoning Board of Appeals didn't seem to understand that, but I am petitioning you, and I will put it in writing, that you get this corrected pronto. It's expensive, it's causing health issues to not only me, but the other residents of that building. And it's a lack of concern on this, and you just appointed the same stupid people to your Zoning Board of Appeals last month. All it is your little cronies that you pull in time and time again who have no training whatsoever. There are classes for zoning and planning, and your people that you stick in those things are only there to exert their little power trips. I'm asking you as a citizen, as a tax-paying citizen and property owner in Greenhills, to enforce health and safety in this community and pay attention when people file appeals to the Zoning Board of Appeal. I didn't appeal it to the state. I let it go. And that's been years now, and it has not been corrected. Your building inspector is part-time. He isn't performing his duties. And if it's my understanding that Ms. Kovat is actually the zoning czar for Greenhills, she isn't upholding any kind of building standards in this community. And believe you me, that is something the citizens of this town expect and want to see happen. There are too many properties in this town that are in decline that need to be dealt with, and you're ignoring it. I don't understand that. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, all right. Moving on. New business, ordinance number 2025-01-L&R, first reading. Maria Walter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number 2025-01-L&R, first reading, repealing chapters 1321 and 1329 of the Village of Greenhills Codified Ordinance regarding Uniform Housing Code and roof drainage.
First reading.
That's the first reading.
Okay, all right. Okay, the next ordinance, 2025-02-L&R.
Excuse me, there's no discussion on that after I just presented information.
It's first reading.
It's first
reading.
There should be discussion.
First reading. Okay,
Dave, this gentleman had signed up for a leave before to speak, but he didn't understand when you said anybody else, he thought maybe on that issue.
Yeah, he signed in too.
okay.
You have the original sheet of the library paperwork.
Oh, is that where it went?
Okay. So you,
I want to ask the commission or the council a question.
Just a general question?
Yes.
okay.
We have a
That'll be
second.
another time.
Okay.
Second. You're
Right.
You're good, Mike.
You're good.
No
Was it
problem.
regarding these two ordinances or?
No.
Okay.
Totally different.
You're good.
Okay.
All right, okay. All right, next ordinance, number 2025-02-L&R, first reading, adopting chapter 745 of the codified ordinances of the Village of Greenhills related to massage establishments and declaring emergency possibly.
This is going to be the first reading of ordinance number 2025-02-L&R, first reading. Adopting the chapter of 745 of the codified ordinances of the Village of Greenhills relating to massage establishment and declaring it an emergency. First reading on this second ordinance.
And if anybody needs a copy of those ordinances, is it online yet or not? Do we have it online?
We could put it, we don't put the packets at this point
Yeah.
online, but.
Or they could request it at the office? Right?
Yeah, plus there's a are there copies back there?
I make 5 copies, and so If anybody needs any, just ask me and I'll print them off for you.
It should be online. They're supposed to be given public notice at least 24 hours for any legislation. It should be online. And Jeff Ford knows that.
Okay. All right, moving on. Council comments. Anybody have any comments you want to make?
I do.
May 27th, we have the meeting for rules and laws and rules at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Okay. No other people have any comments they want to make?
I do. Reading through this, I'm glad that we are putting something in writing, even though we're just reading it, because somebody that's worked with victims of sexual assault and domestic violence, that's worked in the nonprofit sector with people that have been trafficked and prostituted. This is a very real thing that happens, and it happens right in front of us. It's astonishing and it's disgusting to know that our country has the most trafficking, has the most inappropriate materials online and things of that nature. And there's so many courses that you can take that that will teach you some things to look for, but we don't all know what we're looking for. We don't all know the signs. And so I think it is important to be proactive versus reactive and to try and take whatever measurements we can to not only protect our children, our residents, but also other citizens and Americans.
Thank you.
And I have a comment as well. I think there was a period of time where emergency clause was used quite often. I don't think it was ever used illegally, but I know that we've made a concerted effort not to use the emergency clause unless we need to. So my question is, why is it attached to this particular document?
It's council's option after the second reading if you want to have it go into effect immediately or want to wait 30 days. That's your option.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, and part of the reason that changed was related to the charter changes. When we started doing resolutions on certain things that used to be, everything was covered by an ordinance.
Okay.
So there were some things that were actually an emergency to get in. And of course, that statement declaring an emergency, blah, 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 is basically a standard statement that's used by everybody in the state of Ohio for emergency clauses.
And I know, and sometimes with the audit, or not the audit, but the budget, we are forced to actually move quicker than we would prefer to move in that case. But thank you.
Okay, a municipal calendar. You had
I
your,
already said it, you.
The next community development meeting will be May 27th at 5:30.
Park Talk May 1st.
Park
6
Talk May
o'clock.
1st, and the police talk on the levy up here
April
is the
28th.
28th.
Monday,
Monday, 28th.
And I believe the pool opens before our next regular meeting, and so the pool opens Memorial Day weekend
Yeah.
on Saturday, May 24th.
Okay, all right. Okay, now this is an opportunity for residents and non-residents to appear before council. Non-residents must obtain prior permission. This is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council. When recognized, please come to the podium, complete the sign-in sheet, verbally indicate if you're a resident of Greenhills or a non-resident, then state your comments. If you have questions, the questions will be recorded and referred to the manager's office for response. This will allow time for thoughtful and thorough consideration to be given to each question. Council meetings are recorded for ease of transcription. Comments are limited to 4 minutes. Speakers may not yield any or all of their time to other speakers. There you go.
Yes, my name is Mike Ayler. I live at 10 Drummond Street, and I have a concern and a question. What is the procedure to have speed limit signs and watch for children signs put up? My street has become I don't understand why, but it's a connect. People will turn left on a Cromwell and go all the way down Drummond, and then they'll turn left on Damon. but they're not doing 25 miles an hour. And I'm concerned, I live by myself, my youngest kid is 38 years old and he lives in Virginia, so I don't have a, pony in the race. But I'm concerned about the smaller kids. They're range from high school to, there's one little kid down the street that's learning how to walk. And I'm just concerned about the cars speeding through. There's cars parked on the one side, and the one thing I remember from driver's ed way back when is the bouncing ball coming out between the parked cars, and the question was, when they froze the film, what happens next? And the answer was the kid coming out chasing the ball. Like I said, I don't have any personal kids involved because my youngest is 38 years old and lives in Virginia. So, but I'm just concerned about the speed limit, and what I envision anywhere from a speed limit sign and underneath it, watch for children, or the ultimate would be speed humps.
Yeah.
So that was my question, and what needs to be done? What's the next step if that could happen?
It can be a topic at the safety committee.
Yeah. This is an issue just about on any street in Greenhills, and unfortunately, it's just about any community these days.
I mean,
and,
to go down the hill
and the fact that they're turning onto Drummond to go down Damon the other end is kind of
I
baffling.
don't understand that. I came home and turned left on Cromwell, and there was a car in front of me, and it was like a really nice, Corvette, and I knew they didn't live on the street, so I was wondering, and I followed it all the way down to Damon, and it turned left. I don't know if they didn't want to, I guess the left turn light was on, and they figured, well, we'll turn that way, and then won't have to worry about the light at Damon. And being a Corvette.
It's noticeable.
Nobody drives.
But why wouldn't they go
25
down to the stop sign at Damon and then turn? Okay.
And I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen several times. But like I said, I guess there's more streets in town, but nobody drives the speed limit anymore. I mean, unless there's an officer at the bottom of the hill going down towards Winton Woods, there's cars going 50 miles, 55 miles an hour. And then if they, the only thing that slows them down is if the light turns red.
Maybe.
But anyhow.
We've talked about it, and it's something that we continue to talk about and we've talked to Chief because we know that it's an issue, and we definitely don't want people speeding. And to answer your question a little bit, obviously there's talking about cost, presenting something to the residents. But I do just want to say thank you for coming and for sharing and for you speaking up for him, because it doesn't matter how old your child is, you're still a parent, and for you to come and speak on behalf of the other children and be empathetic and care for another human being and another life is something that we need more of. So we hear you. I'm on Japonica, and people don't Zoom as much as they used to, but it would be infuriating to me because they're coming over a hill, can't see, and then they come down, and we all around there most of us have children, and young children at that. So just don't think that it's falling on deaf ears, and we've definitely continued to talk about it.
Chief, did you have anything?
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming in, and it'll be noted to the troops, so you'll see a bigger presence over there on Drummond. Yeah, it slows people down when they see us, and then it can't be everywhere all the time, so,
There's a lot of streets.
Right, but I mean, if they see us there on a regular basis, and next time they're driving through or cutting through, they realize and remember, I remember seeing one sitting up here, might slow them down, but.
I was just thinking that the sign, the sign for speed limit, the sign for watch for children would be a permanent thing, so.
Right.
I mentioned one thing on watch for children or slow children playing.
Yeah.
In the past, we've had safety consultants suggest not to do that because you're somewhat potentially implying for them to play in the street. And so they,
Yeah, but most of the younger kids that wouldn't make any difference.
well, no, but
I mean, some of the younger kids can't even
it's
read.
like the village is saying, we're allowing kids to play in the street, watch children playing. Well, they're not really supposed to be in the street.
I know
So
that-
that's one of the main reasons that
Yeah,
children playing in the street signs have never gone
yeah,
up.
I saw-
there used to be a,
Go ahead, I'm
there
sorry.
used to be a, I can't remember if she was blind or deaf, but there used to be a street sign on
Yeah.
both ends of Drummond
Right.
because there was a disabled
Yeah.
child that
Yeah.
lived on the street.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, One thing I noticed and saw in Wyoming, which was interesting to me, was a number of residents, like, I think it was every other house for about 4 or 5 houses, did have a sign out there just saying, slow down. I think it had an effect on me knowing that, you see those signs and people just pass them, but when you see a group start to organize, I don't know if that has, actual results or not, but it did make me think that, hey, they're concerned about their community and more people are speaking up or doing something about it. So it's good that you've brought it to our attention. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a sign on Ken Road when you're going south. It's a little
Yeah.
person about this high, and it's
It's,
got a little red flag.
I have 3 please slow down signs that I don't need anymore because they tore down the school at the end of the street on Junedale, so you're welcome to them.
That might work.
Okay. All right, we have anybody else that wants to?
Appreciate you
Thanks,
coming.
Mike.
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Okay, I just have some questions. Chief, I was wondering, those 5 arrests you made, where were they?
I'm sorry?
The arrests that you talked about,
Oh, I don't have that report in front of me. I can get that for you.
you don't know were they in the village or were they in houses?
Oh, no, they're
or
all-
at the shopping center? Or
All village.
All
I mean,
within the
naturally, they
village?
were in the village.
Were
yeah.
they in the majority of one area?
Honestly, I'm not going
Don't
to
know.
speak without.
Okay.
I know one was a domestic violence
Yeah, that's right.
arrest, so that was
Yeah,
a
you talked
resident,
about that
a
one, too.
resident probably. The other 4
Right,
off the
okay, you
block.
can let me know.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so is not the rec committee supposed to have a rec commission by our charter?
We have,
We
we
have a
have
recom-
the outline for rec commission, it's not, it's not a, what do you call it, ongoing.
So you have
committee.
nobody
It's not
in the
a-
rec
it's not a
commission that
continuing-
reports?
Not right now, no, we don't,
So you haven't for 2 or 3 years,
at least, yeah,
4 years?
I don't know.
Okay, one other thing I wanted to know was about the sidewalks. What's going on with the sidewalks? Did
Thank-
you get any contractors to fix them?
Thank you for your question. We'll look into it and get back to you.
You don't know? Okay.
I mean, we read this whole paragraph that says we'll write the questions down and get back to you, and now we know.
That's right, that's fine. You can get back with me. I
Okay.
just live across the street from you, so not a problem. And also,
And
on this
check-
issue 2,
And check with Yvonne on these questions.
yeah. So on issue 2, don't the Ohio taxpayers pay interest on that 2.5 billion? So it isn't free money to the taxpayers?
No, they're bonds.
They're bonds.
I know they're bonds,
Purchased
but
by the
doesn't the
state.
taxpayer pay interest on the bonds?
No, they sell
They
the
s-
bonds on the bond market.
Right.
So the answer is no?
No.
Okay, just was wondering about that. And the other thing, on the non-voted debt, is that done?
Yes.
It's done, so now all our money gets to be in our pockets to distribute to our committees and do things, right? Okay, great, thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Ken Riley, live at 50 Embler, and thank you for allowing us to speak. I just had a couple of questions. One is, how long has Beloy's been empty now, and is there anything in process with it?
You can
Been
answer.
empty for about 2.5 years, I think, about 2.5 years, and yeah, we continue to work on some potential leads.
Is it the same
And
lady in
renovation.
charge for the realtor?
Yes.
Is it the same one?
Yes.
I had contacted her twice, and she wouldn't let me even see the facility. Is there, the last time I talked to her, she said you had to have a business plan. And I said, how can you have a business plan if you can't even see the facility?
I'm.
We don't handle any of that internally.
I will just share, and this isn't, I'm not answering on behalf of the council per se. I'm a licensed realtor. I don't do commercial. I deal with residential. And at any given time, there are things that, as a realtor, you kind of have autonomy on what you're able to, and I'm not siding with her. I don't know her personally. I'm not saying I agree with it or not. But you can make sure that there are certain things in place, such as I personally will not show a house if the person that is interested in purchasing it doesn't have a pre-approval from a bank or a credit union or a financial institution, or if they don't have, same thing from a financial institution, a proof of funds letter that shows that they have the assets. So it sounds like asking for something like that, because she knows that it's a business and that it's commercial real estate. She might have been.
I was probably the only tenant who's been in there the last 50 years that actually paid all their rent, so.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not siding or anything. I was just trying to answer to give a little bit of information from a real estate perspective.
Okay, I get that.
Was this recent, Ken?
No, I talked to Dave probably 2.5 years ago when they first were gonna list it, and I said, what's going on, and he sent me the lady's number, and I called her up on the phone, and she said, that'd be great, let me call you back. She called me back and said, well, I don't want you to look at it until we get the brochures and everything done, and so I waited 2 months, called her back, and she said, well, we decided we're not going to show it if you don't have a business plan. I'm like, that's weird. So, and here we are now 2.5 years later, and nothing's in there. So, I don't know if she treats other people that way or not.
Yeah,
That's
the same realtor.
okay.
I think we
Thank
should
you.
look.
Thank you.
Thank you, we'll look into that.
Busy night. Lisa Knack, 13 Bachman Street. I want to, two things. I want to apologize for a misstatement at the last council meeting on March 25th, I believe, and also pass on helpful information. I had stated that the committee meetings were not being published on the website, and that's not true. They are being published. Ms. Hudson showed me where they are. If you go to the website and up into the upper left-hand corner, there's what people sometimes call the hamburger menu, 3 little lines. Punch on that, and you'll get a drop-down menu, and then you want to go to the calendar. So that's very helpful. I've actually attached or connected it to my Google Calendar, so anytime you put something on that calendar, it pops up on mine. So again, I apologize for the misstatement and appreciate you helping me find it. And I also want to reinforce what Mike Ayler had said. I live on Bachman, which is also the cut-through street on Burley, and we do have a hill, and people fly through there. So I don't know if we can look at doing some traffic studies. I'm not necessarily a big proponent of the traffic humps. I think they are being shown more and more to cause more problems and accidents than they solve, but it is frightening how quickly cars are driving around nearly every street in the village. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know when we first moved down here, we could tell if someone was visiting because they were constantly turning around in the maze. But now, even when in the maze, people are kicking in pretty fast, and I agree, it's a real issue.
Well, ever since COVID, speeding has been an issue everywhere, just about.
Red lights, too.
We do have what do we call that?
Speed
device?
monitor.
Yeah, to monitor on the streets what the speeds are of people driving through. And so I mentioned that to Yvonne, so we'll probably hit that on Drummond. I think we did Bachman once before, but I can't remember for sure. I know we've been on Burley.
Yeah, I know I haven't on Bachman. We did on Damon and somewhere else in the J section, I think. But
And it's been on Farragut, so.
I don't, but Mike Castor might. He's the one that deploys the sign for us. So, yeah, not that I'm aware of as far as the list, but certainly get it out on places that are mentioned. And
Does everybody have the handouts?
No. And before you go, thank you, Lisa, for that. And thank you for coming to the meetings and for also coming to the committee meeting, because a lot of people want to come and share their grievances, but won't put in the time to actually be present. And even for what you shared at the committee meeting and some of your experience. So if you ever have anything or feedback, please feel free to get it to me.
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, super. All right, Monique Mason-Halter, Greenhills resident. As I've mentioned at past council meetings, there are federal bills being rushed through that will eliminate municipal control over the installation of wireless infrastructure, including small cell towers and antennas. I've also provided you with printed materials from different organizations for your review. Tonight, I'm referring you to the 704 No More campaign. It's an initiative of Children's Health Defense. The homepage, 704nomore.org, reads that the team is led by attorney W. Scott McCullough, who has decades of experience fighting for local control and public safety in the telecom space. They are dedicated to impactful strategic litigation and advocacy and are determined to turn challenges into victories. I've printed and provided you content from the 704nomore.org About page and another printout with 2002 research on cell tower emissions. Before I start reading excerpts from the webpage, I'd like to thank council members again for passing a protective ordinance to regulate small cell deployment here and for writing a letter to the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, to ask the agency to comply with the 2021 court order to address scientific evidence related to the health and environmental impacts of RF wireless radiation. 11 Ohio state lawmakers have also sent letters, including Cindy Abrams and Louis Blessing, who represent us here, and Jean Schmidt, who is the chairwoman of the House Health Committee. Now I'll read excerpts from the 704nomore.org About page. Section 704 is unconstitutional. Quote, no state or local government may regulate the placement, construction, and modification of personal wireless service facilities on the basis of the environmental effects of radio frequency emissions to the extent that such facilities comply with the Commission's regulations concerning such emissions, end quote. This is unconstitutional because it deprives states and local governments of their traditional police powers designed to protect the health and welfare of their citizens, but does not provide a federal remedy or other meaningful oversight. Local oversight is essential for ensuring democratic governance at the community level. Unlike personal devices, RF radiation exposure from cell towers does not depend on personal use, raising concerns about consent and informed choice. Children are especially at risk. RF radiation exposure has been linked to severe health issues such as cancer, neurological disorders, and genetic damage. Section 704's overreach violates several constitutional principles. Fifth and Seventh Amendments, the lack of due process and remedies for harm caused by RF exposure infringes on individual rights. Ninth and 10th Amendments, the preemption of local and state authority undermines state police powers and individual freedoms. Commerce Clause, forcing non-consenting individuals to endure RF exposure exceeds Congress's authority. As I've mentioned at other meetings, if you want to keep municipal authority over wireless deployment, it's important to contact our lawmakers as soon as possible and ask them to take action on our behalf. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Patty Unwad. I reside at 32 Chalmers Lane. I've been an owner of property in Greenhills for decades, and I presently am the chair of the Democratic Party for the Village of Greenhills and also a candidate for council. So because of those reasons, I have it in my heart that I really want to see this community be the best it can be. So in order to accomplish that, I think I'd like to just refer to a lesson that I learned about a week ago at the National Holocaust Museum in Amsterdam. It was a very fortunate experience to spend hours upon hours studying how that community had been overtaken by the Germans and that people that they didn't like were punished. They were punished, snatched from the streets, thrown into concentration camps, or just sent directly to an extermination camp. These things can only happen when people don't have the opportunity to question their government. Now, I know some of you, especially Miss Rachel, seems to have a lot of contempt for anyone that asks questions. I find it not just a right, I find it a duty. I find it a duty of any citizen that respects democracy. There was a wise man who said, just to paraphrase, that the best disinfection for democracy is sunshine. The sunshine laws for the state of Ohio are actually required for each and every one of you to attend during each session of your official duties. I think there's been so much sarcasm about anyone asking to see public records, and it's been directed mainly at me because I'm really doing research to be able to hold the job and help our community. So in order to make sure that you have it readily available, I'd like to make a gift of this manual to the Greenhills Village Council for ready reference. The woman who gave the orientation at the Holocaust Museum emphasized how none of the atrocities could have possibly gone forth in Europe if people would have been asking questions. Questions about operation, questions about a lot of things. Now, I notice on your agenda, you say, we have the right to ask you a question, but apparently you don't feel that you have the obligation to give an answer. You like to say, oh, we'll have the village manager get back with you. But you know, she wasn't elected. We're talking to each one of you. Each one of you have a duty. You have a duty to show up at meetings. You have a duty to pay attention. You have a duty to watch how every single dime is spent. If it's spent foolishly, then it's on you. And that's what these records will show. Thank you for your attention.
Anybody else? Okay, nothing further. Meeting adjourned.